my name is Polly Walton, and I've been volunteering here at Some Other Place since about 2014. So I'm really a newbie compared to most of the individuals that work here. Prior to working here, I worked for the state of Texas, and I was a counselor for the deaf, and then I was a transition counselor working with school districts and was on the school board for the Texas School for the Deaf for 21 years. My background is working with people with disabilities, so working here was sort of an automatic fit for me. I think that's one of the first things you've got to think about when you want to volunteer is, where is my passion? Not so much the place that you're going to, but where is the passion that you have, and what can you learn from the passion that you have? I knew Paula O'Neill, and so then I came back and started doing some volunteer work here. I knew a little bit about what was going on here. Most people just think of it as feeding the homeless and helping the homeless and doing a few things, helping the disadvantaged community in their resource center. Because as a counselor, we used to refer people here, and then Paula would refer people to our agency, which was a vocational rehabilitation agency, and so that we would help the people with disabilities. When I started volunteering, it was for the Christmas program. I just got in there and started doing some things and got very interested. And I think one of the things that we talk about when we volunteer is you go in knowing what your passion is, and then you have to sort of figure out what their passion is, and then you find out that there's a lot more things that you didn't know about that go on at a facility that you had no clue about. I had no earthly idea about some of the things that Christmas and back to school and Thanksgiving and the tasting and all of those things. Those were things that I learned about once I came over here. So I started mainly working in community services. You've got to think outside of the box anytime you're a volunteer, because volunteers are people who have a passion, but they don't go in and say, what can I do? They've got to have something that they're going to feel good about, because you got to go home thinking that you've served the community and that you've done a good job at whatever it is that you're doing, and feel good about it. The benefits of volunteering. Okay, some of the benefits of volunteering is that a lot of people don't think about is that, first of all, it helps your self-esteem. It helps your mental health, and it helps your physical health as well, because you're actively involved in something that is beneficial and you're giving back to the community. A lot of the young people don't realize how much volunteering is important on their college resume and on their job application. Those things look great when you're applying to go off to a college, or if you're wanting to go to work. We have a program that the high schools come and they volunteer. My grandson has volunteered since he was in the 5th grade, and now he's a sophomore in high school. I'm trying to impart to them things that my parents imparted to me, because they were big volunteers in the deaf community in Houston. So I think that's very, very important, that you've got to feel like you're getting something as well as you're giving something to the community. Everything that you do has a purpose, no matter what it is. If you're mopping the floor, if you're stacking the boxes, no matter what you're doing, there's a need for everything that you just cannot imagine all the things that you can do. You can paint the walls, you can fix the air conditioner, you can make the food, you can do those kinds of things, but there's so many other things that need to be done. One of the things that brought me to Some Other Place was the fact that 95% of every dollar goes back into Some Other Place. We don't have a high budget. We don't have a lot of employees that work here. And that's why Some Other Place to me is different than some of the other opportunities that are out there. Volunteers are needed all over the place. In this time of COVID, we've learned a whole lot about volunteering and giving back. If we've learned nothing, we have learned that it counts for us to give back to our communities, no matter how little you might think it is. And that's another good part about volunteering. You can come and volunteer for 30 minutes, or you can volunteer all day. It really doesn't make any difference. You're a volunteer. Several years ago, when I was at a volunteer conference prior to coming to Some Other Place, Evelyn Lord was the speaker, and I'll never forget one of the quotes that she said. She said, volunteering is the rent that you pay for living. And I've had to think about that, and it truly is. It's what we need to give back because we're here and we're able to do and we're able to help.